Good for me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you. All right. And we have to do your motions first. Yours first. Just can't have a meeting without the clerk. Okay. Dun, dun. Where is that? Okay. We're almost ready? Everybody ready? Anybody that hasn't signed in, would you mind signing the register? What is it called? Attendance register around the table there, please. Thank you. Yep, they're all long. We're live now? All right. All right, everybody. I will call our regular public council meeting for Monday, August 14th, 2023 to order. First order of business is the motion to appoint acting town clerk. Someone do that, please.
Okay, a motion resolved that Deputy Clerk Ann Pico be appointed as acting town clerk for the public council meeting of Monday, August 14, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Now, we got another motion that we have to do. As per our remote meeting policy, maximum number of remote meeting public council meetings you can attend in a year is 3, otherwise approved by council. So we need a motion for Councillor Manning to participate remotely tonight. Councillor Tabor?
Yes, I move that Councillor Manning be permitted to attend this meeting remotely.
Oh. Seconder?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. New business. Councillor Tapper.
A few thank yous.
Okay. Councillor Manning.
Yes.
Pass. Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Pollard. Pass. Councillor Appleby.
Mayor, I won't be here. I have to leave. I'm on the side of the highway here for the start of the meeting. So if I could just issue my condolences, please, to sorry, I'm a little mesmerized. To Mayor Codner's family, please. That would have been my new business for this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Goss.
I'll pass, please.
Deputy Mayor.
I've got congrats, thank yous, and condolences.
Covered them all. And I got some thank yous. That's it. All right. For the first Q&A session, is there anybody who want to get on the first Q&A?
Yes, there is an item on the agenda, I believe, this evening with respect to proposed development.
Yeah.
For townhouses in Woodbridge. I guess one person can speak for those that are attending here, or how do you want to handle that, Mayor?
You can if you want. I mean, we got 15 minutes allotted for that. So if more than one person wanted to speak to it, they can. Have you seen the agenda?
Yes.
Oh no, the council package.
Not the full package, but I have seen, I guess, proposed motion with respect to that.
Okay. All right.
particular
Yeah. All right. So So Dorothy?
Yes, I would like to speak to it. I don't know if any others would or if that's fine.
Okay. Is anybody else?
You good? You're good?
All right, okay, so Dorothy Keating. All right, could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All righty. There's a public council meeting minutes dated July 17th. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
Could I just note something for you?
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Ann before. I did read the minutes, although I wasn't at the last meeting. On page 4, there's a typo.
Hang on now. Can we get a motion to adopt them first, please?
Okay.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Seconder, okay. Now go ahead.
Okay.
Any errors or omissions? Right.
I should be used to that, shouldn't I?
You should.
Had a bad weekend. Page 4, typo, number 3A. It says St. John's Price, Price. It should be St. John's Pride. I think it's important to note that and have Ann
okay.
correct it.
Okay, yeah, see that? That Ann? All right, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Conflict of interest piece, there's a sheet here. That's not the one. Where'd it go? We don't have one, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew this. All right, I'm hoping everybody looked at it. If there's an interest that you need to conflict, we'll talk about it when it comes up anyway. There's just 2 items on here. One is 2 Rosebud Street, and the other is 29 and 31 Woodbridge Lane. So, just a notice there. All right, proclamations, presentations. We have a proclamation, none. We have a presentation for the Green Team summer presentation. Yes, 2023 Green Team summer presentation. Is that going to be on the screen?
It is, yeah.
Okay. I will move out of the way. Hopefully we don't lose our online participants.
All right, hi everybody. My name's Morgan, and
I'm Jessica.
this is Jessica, and we are with the Green Team with this summer. We are called Wild Torbay, and our focus was Torbay's conservation areas and natural assets, identification, conservation, and protection. So we're actually with Conservation Corps NL, which is a non-for-profit group dedicated to providing youth, such as ourselves, with training and employment in environmental and cultural heritage conservation.
The Green Team program offers youth meaningful employment and skill development opportunities. The Green Team aims to support community-based organizations and municipalities with local conservation activities, meetings, self-determined needs, and serving communities across the province.
So our project this summer was part of an ongoing functional wetland assessment project that will be used to support the town's climate change adaptation and mitigation plan through identification of the town's natural assets such as wetlands. So it involves ground proofing, wetlands, and as well as species mapping, creating and engaging the community with educational materials, environmental awareness events, and more. So, yeah, first we're going to talk about ground-proofing wetlands and species mapping. Wetlands can be classified as a fen, marsh, swamp, bog, or open water. Classification is based on physical characteristics of the natural environment, such as the amount of water present, the prominent species types, And different types of wetlands have different levels of climate change mitigation abilities.
There are peat-based wetlands, and these are bogs, which are a great example of peat-based wetlands. Peat is the surface area of soil that's composed and decomposed organic matter. The composition of peat allows it to store carbon emissions, which reduces greenhouse gas levels. Identifying important natural assets such as bogs can be used to support the town's climate change adaptation and mitigation plan.
And yeah, all these pictures are ones that we took during our site surveys this summer. So along with climate change mitigation, these wetlands also play a big role in water storage. So the composition of bogs with this peat-based soil allows them to act as a sponge, which is important for water storage. They're able to store water during heavy rainfall periods to prevent flooding, and then in reverse, they're able to slowly release their water reserves during dry periods to prevent drought.
Wetlands are also essential habitats for many species in our province. These species use these natural systems for food, shelter, water, and as breeding grounds. Some species we have spotted include
the American black duck, the tree swallow, which is the little blue guy up top there, the yellow-rumped warbler, Wilson's snipe is the second guy with the funky beak, the common loon on the bottom there, mallard, and many more. We also, as I mentioned, created engaging educational materials that we shared with the community. So we made brochures. You can go to the next slide, thanks. So we made brochures, and I'll pass around. We have one example up there, but I'll pass these ones around. I'll leave some for you too. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So, yeah, you can read that if you want.
Okay. We were able to create and distribute brochures that highlight why conservation areas are important and what species use them. Ultimately, the conservation of these areas will be determined by the people who live and visit there and their respect for the land. This is why educating the public on how to maintain and protect these areas are so important.
We're also able to work on creating a new interpretive sign for the Jones Pond conservation area. So there's already one couple up at sites such as Western Island Pond and Upper Three Corner Pond. But yeah, distributing these brochures and implementing signage will hopefully draw attention to Jones Pond and encourage residents and tourists to visit the area. Creating natural spaces that are easy for people to access and enjoy allows communities to thrive. Enjoying these areas can also have a positive impact on mental health. And yeah, we also did a few environmental awareness events. Yeah, thank you. So we did 2 here in Torbay. We went out in the community to talk about important environmental topics such as climate change and water conservation. So we visited Camp T up at Torbay Commons to teach them about the importance of water conservation. And we also did a little planting in their community garden. That's the top picture up there. And then we also had a table set up at Torbay's birthday, Family Fun Day, on Sunday, August 6th. So we were able to, that was the first place, we just had printed our brochure, so we were able to distribute those there. And we had face paint set up. That was really popular with all the kids. I think every single kid had their face painted. We had to paint it at least like 50 faces. And more. So in conjunction with Sam, we're going to on Wednesday install tree nest boxes for some important species such as tree swallows. We compiled research on the prominent species of plants and birds, which we use for our brochures and informational signage, and eventually for the creation of a Wild Torbay webpage. And then we also compiled research on the history of stewardship in Torbay, as well as Torbay's culturally significant natural spaces, which can be used for educational programming at places such as the History House or Torbay Commons.
Thanks for having us this summer.
Thanks, guys. It was a really great summer. Had lots of fun. It was great working with Julia and everyone in the planning department and everything. And yeah, it's just been a really great summer. So we really appreciate the opportunity.
So, thank you for that. That's awesome. And I think that a lot of people don't know that we have 6, I think, protected areas in our town that are, would you call them registered? They're protected, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're protected like as a conservation area.
Yeah, and I know that Zach is also here from SAM, Stewardship Association of Municipalities, that the town of Torbay is a member of, and we've been a member of, I guess, since it started. Yeah, and, you know, it's a great organization that help us identify and to do the work that you are doing, and we're lucky to have you here for the summer to do that work. I hate to say that the summer's over.
I know.
They went really fast.
After the regatta, that's it, it's all downhill. After that, it's brutal. But does anybody have any questions for our green team? No? Okay.
No, it's a
So-
great job, and it's nice the fact that you got the actual brochures, and there's one here, just so Dorothy and people from Western Island Pond, there's one from in that area that they've got done up, which is really good, right, that,
Well,
yeah.
it is, and the benefit to that is to let the people know that live in there next to that thing. You can't cut all the trees down back to the pond because it's a protected area. And I think that sometimes we are not as, I don't know that we advertise that enough in these particular areas where those protected areas are and about river buffers and our trail systems and all that kind of stuff, because that's where we try and do our work, within the buffer zones that are allowed. We did one in the upper tree corner around the pond. It's beautiful, and of course the trails of Forest Landing are great. But I have a couple of gifts here for you guys. I'll get up and give them to you. And got one for, there's Morgan and Jessica, right?
Yeah.
I should stand up, I was supportive on this project as well.
Just,
yeah.
I got up to you.
There's all more than that.
Afterwards, we're gonna present these, and we'll jam them in here in here. Did you wanna have a few words with Sam?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the town of Torbay for, this is a wonderful initiative, like you were mentioning, it's great to promote these conservation areas within the town. That's what it's about, outreach and engagement, promoting the specialness of these wildlife habitat areas. Stewardship Association and Ducks Unlimited are working in partnership with this. So Ducks has already, they've already evaluated 20 wetlands as part of this project and are evaluating 20 more. To go back towards that management plan to better understand habitat in Torbay. So I just wanted to thank the town for this initiative, for supporting the CCNL Green Team and leading to more outreach and engagement of understanding our stewardship conservation areas. So thank you.
Right,
Thank you.
and that you mentioned Ducks Unlimited,
Yes.
and we do have a Ducks Unlimited Center of Excellence here at the Holy Trinity High School, right?
Yeah.
With the Gully, that happened probably 2015 maybe.
Yeah, and we still
been a
support
while.
them and meet with the school and develop the nest boxes that they're installing tomorrow or on Wednesday were built by that school shop. So
Right.
it comes full circle, and then we do that nest boxes installed at Western Island Pond on where the interpretive signs are. It comes full circle through the brochures outreach. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's excellent, and people should know that ducks are smart. because we put a duck crossing on Ballyline Line, and the first day the sign was up, I was coming out Ballyline Line, and I had to stop right at that sign because the ducks were going to cross. So I told staff at our function, I don't know who made the decision to put that sign where it was, but you put it in the perfect spot because the ducks are paying attention to it. All righty, thank you. All right. Q&A, Dorothy?
You okay with these ones?
Sure.
So I will share a fun fact when I hit one up big while I come up, is the gully and the wetlands and the conservation. So back when I was on council in 97 or 96, that was when we did that. So, do you remember that? Yeah.
Yep.
That wasn't yesterday, and I'm still very young, by the way. Just saying. So, thank you for giving us a little bit of time this evening. There was, I guess, a development request put before council for 2931 Woodbridge, and I guess you had publicized as required. It's discretionary use of council, and as a resident in the area, I did look, and I am familiar with sort of some of your stuff, having been here before, with discretionary use, so looked at what was being proposed by the individual in question, did in my communication back to all councillors when I voiced my written objection to it, that there was incongruencies between what was presented as the picture and what was articulated in the words of what the individual was saying, and then fundamentally stopped and considered the development in the area and why I moved in the area. It's single family, more executive style homes with larger lots, and I guess myself and others that I know that are in that particular area moved there for that reason, from living in other parts of the community of Torbay, where I have. So not that I am opposed to development in the town, I absolutely am not, but that particular area in that subdivision, I think is, incorrect in meeting with what that area is. Notwithstanding the fact that there is a park that's directly in that vicinity across from it, and 8 units requiring 2 parking spaces per unit is 16 parking spaces across for where a lot of children play. So I just don't think that, while it's great to see someone come in the community and try and develop and grow and build houses, I just don't think that meets with that particular area, and given that council has the ability under discretionary use for those reasons to deny the application, I'm requesting that denial. I think you've had, in what I've seen in the package, multiple, I think it was 60 or 70 letters that came in. I know there was a petition that went around, so I think the residents in the area have voiced their concern over what is proposed, and I guess I felt strongly enough about it to come in this evening and just voice it publicly, as well as the letters in that or my own letter that I sent in. So I don't know if there's any questions or anything of council, but I just, between the parking, what's in the area, the children playing, and specifically that there's a park across from the area, I just don't think that this is appropriate. And I think that this area, I know there's future area, I know there's a development that's proposed there now. It's great that the area is developing, but I think you have to keep in tune with what's there in the area. And I did see, up backing on a Skipper's Landing, there's going to be a proposed development for seniors. I think that senior, that's single family dwellings, dual, that's incongruent. But this for, 4 units in each house side by side as townhouses really is not in accordance to what's in that area at all. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And all those things that you raised were in the letters and that committee looked at and considered when they put forward a recommendation that's coming forward tonight. So thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda, mayor's report. I guess first thing I'll do is look at, oh my God, August is almost over. August birthdays. Councillor Manning, happy birthday. Greg Stuckness, Infrastructure and Public Works. Craig Scott, the mayor, birthday was the other day, still kicking. Sherry Tracy, Recreation and Community Services, and Pico, soon, on the weekend. And Kirk Cobden in Recreation and Community Services. I just want to say happy birthday to everybody, and I hope you have a safe and happy birthday and lots of fun with your family. Also, I just wanted to bring this up, and I guess This is kind of right time to do it. So I was doing a bit of, I've had to be filling out or submitting a lot of emails and text me or whatever I got for ATIP requests lately. And it got me to thinking about what happens to those after they're done. So every time that we do one of these requests, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So to me, after it's completed and it's sent back to the people that requested it, we should have a section on our website in the town to post that stuff. Very same as it is on the ATIP website. I can go on the ATIP website and search for the town of Torbay and see every ATIP that was submitted and that was sent back to them, and it's posted on their website. That is, once it's sent back to the requester, it's public information at that point. And the entire community is paying for it, so the entire community should have access to see it, to see what it is, what the request was, and what the report was that was sent back. So I talked to Mark about this earlier, and I know that, I guess, I don't know that people really appreciate the amount of work that goes into completing an ATIP request, but it's people's right to do it, and I have no issue with that. But it's also everybody's right to be able to see what the results of those after, considering they're paying for it.
I wasn't aware that that was the case, so what do you need then from council or from staff in order to make that happen? Do you need a motion
Nothing
or
really, I mean, it's public information. You can just put a link on the website and put it
to
up.
make it happen?
Otherwise, we could just send it back to the ATIP office and they'll post it on their website.
Yeah,
But I think
because
it's
makes
better to
sense.
just put it on ours.
Yeah.
So we can send that back to, who deals with that stuff? Is HR and admin right now? You can go back and take it back to your committee, and Mark could find out what's involved. He can ask the ATIP office what is involved. If we need a motion to do that, you guys can bring it forward. But I
Okay.
think it's important that that information is shared with everybody once it's,
If it can
once it's
be,
brought back.
absolutely.
Alrighty, that's it. That's all I got. Where am I here? Business Horizon, August 14, 2023 report. Anybody have anything on that that they want to talk about? Alrighty. Correspondence. We have one correspondence. We didn't add the other one that we got from the municipal affairs? The letter from the department about the sidewalk?
I've seen your email requesting it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I read it in there somewhere.
That's all right. We'll add it on. We'll add it on next time as a correspondence. That's fine. My friend and our colleague, Tony Keats, is nominated for, what is this? Oh, yes. There's a World Mayor competition that Tony has been nominated for, and I already went on and I voted for him and put my comments in there. It's, I looked at it, and it's really a lot of fun. And I remember back in 2020, there was a number of us mayors from here, myself, Jody, Tony, Danny Breen. It's four I can remember. We were nominated for Canada's Top Mayor Award, and we were going to do, we were supposed to go to Toronto for all this stuff, but anyway, because of the pandemic came, it all got canceled. So it looks like now they're kind of revamping it. And we did have the opportunity, even though I got my opportunity to go on the virtual cash cab, got canned because of they put Danny Breen instead. I'm still positive about that, but anyway, Danny did good, and he won, I think. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, these competitions, but they're also an opportunity for Tony now as the mayor of Dover to be able to promote his town and to promote our province. And I think that anybody should go on to I guess you can Google World Mayor 2023 and go on and offer him some support, because he's a really great guy and a great mentor, and someone that I've been working with now since I got on council. I don't know how many years ago that is, 10 years or whatever. And he really deserves that. So if you can take a few minutes, go on there and give him a vote, please.
Can we have the coordinator communications do up a little blurb for that because I as well serve on the MMA board with him, Board of Directors. And knowing what I know now about him, I think that we need to encourage this and see what we can do to vote him in.
Sounds good. Mark, can you make
If we
that
can,
happen?
yeah, because words in the package and the likelihood of it coming out to light to everybody's attention again is not really, probably not going to happen.
Okay, perfect. All right. Committees Council. Committee of the Whole meeting, July 27th, 2023, minutes. Is there any motions or anything in there? No. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
Can I make a comment?
Yep, go ahead.
I just wanted to, because I think brochures in front of everybody this evening.
Yep.
About the
Oh, yes, okay.
Housing Accelerator Fund. We had 4 people, actually those in attendance, 4 people from council. 3 of those were on the club committee, so we already had seen that presentation. But it's a very, very worthwhile opportunity.
Can you turn your microphone on, Russ, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't hear the, nominee.
Okay, I'll try again, sorry. No, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention the brochure on Housing Accelerator Fund. That was, the presentation was given by Noah Penny at the COW meeting. But there were 4 councillors that did attend, 3 of them were from Flood. But I just want to ask those remaining councillors to have a really serious look at this, because it was very, and it is a very worthwhile opportunity, I think, for this town to take advantage and look at our, potential development. And even if we have to get Noah in again to plant a seed on this, I think is a very, very worthwhile, project, and I'm sure that the Plug Committee is in 100% support of this. So take a look at it anyway and educate yourselves, and I'm sure it's going to be brought up at meetings down the road.
Yep, great points. And to your point, when I first became aware of this was when I was on my way to Amherst for Atlantic Mayor's Congress, and myself and Mayor McDonald and the CAO Jody Murray from Portugal St. Phillips, we had about 3 hours or 3.5 hours to drive, and we did a lot of talking about this. I was really surprised how many or how broad that funding is and what types of projects that you can put under it. When you think about Housing Accelerator Fund, when I first heard it, I thought it was probably for really large municipalities, cities and stuff, building affordable housing and those type things. But there is so many more options in here with everything related to housing, and to make more housing. It's a really good program, and I'm glad that we had somebody down to talk about it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it that night, but I know that the members of council that were there took it all in, and I'm sure they'll be sharing their wisdom on it. Alrighty. Okay. Did somebody make a motion? Please motion those minutes.
So moved.
Moved, seconder?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Committee of the Whole meeting, August 8, 2023. There's no motion or anything in there. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you. Planning land use development. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your
Take it
Worship.
away, buddy.
We have 2 motions on the table, probably 3 actually. First one is for a home office dealer's license on 2 Rosebud Street. We're in receipt of an application proposing to establish a home office in association with an automotive dealer's license that is obtained through the Provincial Department of Service NL by individuals and corporations who engage in the business of buying, selling, or exchanging newer second-hand motor vehicles or trailers. They must be approved by the Registrar of Service NL. We did get some responses back from residents, and we did respond to all the residents' concerns, and they were normal concerns. The applicant indicates that there will be no customers coming to the subject property. There will be no associated signage. Units are wholesale or pre-ordered and delivered to the purchaser. And the applicant indicates no repairs or sales will take place at the property. So essentially, it's a home office that is, transferring information, buyers and sellers, and selling off-site. So we didn't see any issue with it, and there are a significant number of others in town already. So the committees recommend that we approve it. So the motion to conditionally approve application BR 2023-008 for proposed home office use in association with an automotive dealer's license at 2 Rosebud Bud Street at council discretion in accordance with regulation 33 and 90. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next one relates to the 29 and 31 Woodbridge Lane, the 2 fourplex buildings and road dwellings. And we thank Dorothy for presenting tonight. And I also like to thank everybody who actually responded. We had some, I think it was 258 names or something along those lines, and a number of letters. Very little support for. Surprise, surprise. One thing I did find, and I thank those who responded cordially. There was a few comments about trickery and things of that nature, which I almost had an email written back to the person to take personal offense to.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Can you put forward your motion first before you start talking about it?
Okay.
Please,
And
please.
you spoiled the preamble, I'll say I'm gonna lose my whole train of thought. Anyway, motion to refuse application for proposed 2 fourplex buildings, each at both 29 and 31 Woodbridge, C 2023-069 and C 2023-070, in accordance with council's discretionary power authority under section 10 of the Town of Torbay Development Regulations 2025 for the following reasons. The proposed road dwellings are not conducive to the amenity of the surrounding area, and a large number of public objections. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now you can.
Thank you. I'll try to pick up where I left off. So what I was saying was I certainly, I don't appreciate letters that are directed as derogatory towards council or staff members in terms of when people respond. So I thank all those who did respond cordially, and I certainly, it wasn't trickery or anything along those lines. And just for people's benefit, I guess, we did have someone saying, like, why do we even consider it? Well, I guess through the process, we didn't really see the application ourselves as council, because through our process of discretionary use, it goes for advertisement first to get all the information we have, so that when an application comes before council, we have as much information as we can to make a decision. And at that point in time, we look at all the information and make that decision. So we thank everybody for their support, and that's the whole purpose of discretionary use. And the result is here, we listened to everybody, and this particular application is one to refuse at this point in time, providing everybody says yes.
Okay. Any other comment?
I'd just like to add the fact that right from the get-go, I received emails, texts, and phone calls about this, and like Tony said, without getting into this part of the process. So it wasn't something that I could see at that point in time supporting, so.
Or no?
I'd like to say something there, Mr. Mayor.
Just, okay, Councillor Goss first.
Yeah, I just, to reiterate what Deputy Mayor said, it's something that, until we realize what really comes down the pipe, and it's something going on with that type of development in something, in an area that's high in housing, it's, again, it comes across, and I'm glad people reached out, and we had a lot of people, tell us how they felt, and I really appreciate as a councillor, we as a council, so I do appreciate people reaching out, and I thank them for that.
Okay. Councillor Appleby?
Thanks, Mayor. It's really important that people engage and pay attention to what's happening on council, and this is a perfect example of what happens when people do read notices, get engaged, write letters, speak to us as council. Council's here to listen and work with people. So I just want to thank everybody who took time to write a letter and send correspondence. Thank the committee members for receiving and reviewing all that information. and making a recommendation this evening, and thanking the staff that handled the file. It's really important that we're all engaged in different ways. We engage sitting around the table making a decision, but we take, you know, the information from the residents very seriously. So I just wanted to say thank you to the residents who reached out. That's all. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I would just like to join what the rest of our councillors were saying. It's encouraging and great to see the residents reach out and give their thoughts onto it. And as you said, this is all a process, and until you start the process and get into it and see what it all involves and where it can go, you know, it's just good to know that everyone can get involved and have their say and listen to. And for that, I appreciate it as councillor and as councillors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That it? I'll just say briefly, and it's to touch, I guess, on the point that Councillor Pollard made, is that everybody in the community doesn't understand the town regulations and how they work and how the process goes. So yes, I agree that you know, some disparaging things that people say, you have to take it with a grain of salt and remember that everybody is not aware of how the process works, and it's our job as we go forward. And I guess this is an example of showing exactly how the process does work. When it goes out to the public, you get an opportunity to make a response, and council considers that, and we come to a decision. And depending on what decision is, how we explain that to the public when we go back to do it is very important as well. And so that they understand that anybody can put in an application. Developers understand the regulations and the rules better than most residents. So they understand what they're putting in. They understand when something is discretionary use and that they can put it in and go through the process. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you to everybody who submitted emails, phone calls. I know I got a number of them, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad that people were engaged and gave us back that feedback, because I could tell you, if no feedback came back and it's left to the discretion of the council, depending on how we feel about it as individuals, will determine whether it gets passed or not. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for coming to our meeting tonight and providing that input. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. That's in favor of refusal,
Days
right?
of refusal, yes.
Yes.
Great.
I read the motion, don't worry.
What? Yes?
I'm going to leave the meeting at this point.
Okay.
I'm on the side of the road with my kids in the car trying to get home from holidays.
Okay.
So I want to thank you for allowing me virtual participation this evening. Have a great meeting, guys, and we'll see you when I'm back home.
Okay, drive safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All righty.
Okay, next one relates to the Housing Accelerator Fund, and Councillor Tapper had spoken to it previously. So Planning Ambassador Noah Penny provided an update to us on the Housing Accelerator Fund, which provides incentive funding to local governments, encouraging initiatives aimed at increasing housing supply. It also supports the development of complete low carbon and climate resilient communities that are affordable, inclusive, equitable and diverse. Committee supports moving forward to requesting council support of the funding application. Therefore, the following motion is tabled. Motion that Town of Torbay Council direct staff to apply for the Housing Accelerator Fund opportunity from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation and the National Housing Strategy. So moved. Second. Just to let you know, the application is the deadline is the 18th of August.
Okay.
And it's tied to incremental housing. So at a point in time when it is accepted into the stream of funding considerations, I guess there's a count put on, and there's so many dollars associated with each incremental housing that fits their criteria. So we're hoping that we can get some substantial dollars from this and help us move it towards the Great Pond Water Supply or whatever, you know, housing initiatives that we may want to take moving forward.
What's the, do we know what the funding ratio is on this?
in terms of, it's just straight dollars to us. We don't have to put anything in.
Straight
It'd just be
dollars.
straight
Yeah.
grant dollars, yeah.
So we could, if we wanted to, we could also apply on this to help fund the completion of our sidewalk project if we wanted.
Nah, I'm not sure, but
It's in there. Bridges, local roads, bridges, sidewalks, lighting, council, cycle lanes, firehouse.
He's not gonna give up on sidewalk.
now on Friday, perfect.
All right. Okay, all in favor? Oh, you gotta talk about it, Ralph? Go ahead.
I know I spoke about it before, but I just wanna say the timing for this is excellent for the town. You know, we're looking to get Great Pond on stream for future development, and if we get that on stream, it's gonna, you know, obviously skyrocket. And every application for a building permit, even, you know, if it's in the pipeline, is considered under this project. So I think, you know, I think it'll be big money for us to lock into, and especially with Great Pond. It's only a few years down the road, hopefully, and, you know, it's great timing.
Hey, sounds good. Ready?
The
Okay,
the fact that we had the concept for out here, that it get us moving on along with the plans.
Mhm.
So I think that it's important that whatever we need to do with the bigger scheme of things.
sounds good.
An opportunity.
If I could add to that too, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I totally agree that, you know, good timing, in order for us to grow our community and help our residents. This is, something that we can look forward to availing of, so, I'm really excited to see this, come forth.
All right. Okay. The only thing that worries me about these funds is like the transit fund, right? It all goes to these huge cities and municipalities with transit that they already have it. And when we go and ask, well, what about us starting a transit and getting some funding to do a small bus? No, sorry, it's only, you gotta have already established transit program. And the last one, for instance, St. John's, there was 200 and some odd $1 million that they couldn't use because they never had they would never have been able to put in enough infrastructure to use all the money. So they asked to get it reprofiled to something else, so. But I'm sure it went to another larger city to add on to their infrastructure, so. Anyway, let's keep our wits about us and see if we can get some of that money. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you very much.
Before I do the last one for the permit list, I'll be remiss not to thank staff for their efforts on this, because it was sort of a short notice, probably I think a couple of months in order to sit down and accumulate all the information. So thanks to staff for putting the push on this, and I guess Noah was the lead in terms of the actual data mining, and I'm sure Julia's oversight and Jason's assistance certainly provided lots of help as well, and I'm sure other staff had their input, so thanks.
Okay.
Last is the motion to accept permit listings for weeks ending August 10th, 2023 as tabled. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
So ends my report, Your Worship.
All right. Anybody have any questions on any of those hundreds of pages of planning reports that you all read? I guess not. All right. Human Resources, Administration and HR, Counselor Manning.
Okay. So, and bear with me, my voice may come and go.
Did you want to, if you're not up to it, you want to let Deputy Mayor deliver the report?
She won't even look at me.
I was going to ask, but I figured you'd let me know if you weren't okay with doing it.
If you don't mind, because I'm.
I know.
Getting a little bit worse here now, so I apologize.
It's all right.
I'm saying great heavens there.
Okay.
It's all right, Ron, I'll look after you.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to see somebody's looking after it. Okay, we had our meeting, HR committee meeting on July 25th. And recruitment selection, the above noted position, that's for the CAO position, is externally will be closing on Friday, August 18th. Economic and Development Tourism Officer, will be, it's been posted, and same thing before August 18th. And the accounts receivable and procurement administrator, same thing. The aim is to have the position posted on or before August 18th. I should go back and clarification, the CAO position externally is closing on the 18th. The infrastructure and public works, that position has been successfully staffed with the successful incumbent as Evan Vokey. He's already started, and a couple of motions that I've got here. First one, be it resolved that the Director of Human Resources, Mark Whalen, be appointed as the acting Chief CAO for the period commencing June 29th, 2023 through to November 30th, 2023, or until such time that the current Chief Administrative Officer vacancy is filled on a full-time permanent basis. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Be it resolved that interim acting Chief Administrative Officer Mark Whalen's name, contact information, and signing authority be added to the Town of Torbay RBC corporate visa and bank accounts. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Be it resolved that Deputy Clerk Ann Pico be appointed as acting town clerk for the period commencing June 29, 2023 through to November 30, 2023, or until such time that the current Chief Administrative Officer vacancy is filled on a full-time basis, permanent basis, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Other than that, it's just, I'm not going to go, the respectful workplace policy requires council feedback, motion, council professional development. These are on things that are ongoing, that, on things until, the current acting, CAO's duties settle down a bit, that they are not really on the priority list at this point in time, so,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
They haven't been circulated yet, have they?
What's that?
No. Okay.
No, the policies.
No.
The update, the RFP has closed, and I think I saw, didn't I see it? There's a motion coming forward for that later on in another committee. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right,
And
moving on.
thank you.
You're
Thank you. Corporate Services, Councillor Tepper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've got two reports, July 26th and August 14th. So, and there's an additional sheet here with invoices, additional invoices for approval as well. So we'll start off with August 14th. I'm sorry, we'll start off with July, right now, July the 26th.
July 26th.
So you can bring it up. Okay, payroll. Regular payroll for 64 employees for the 2-week period ended July the 5th, 2023, totaled $130,536.95. Regular payroll for 62 employees for the 2-week period ended July the 19th, 2023, totaled $125,918.05. Accounts payable for the 3-week period ended July 21st, 2023, invoices in the amount of $354,751.10 were processed. So we have some invoices as usual for council approval. There are 8 operating invoices totaling $108,639.47. So I'll present them. Invoice number 388, road patching, H&M Paving Limited, $5,336. Invoice 3094931, Island Wide Promotions Limited, $5,334.05. Invoice July the 1st to the 15th, 2023, Receiver General, $41,795.96. Invoice 236 TKS Solutions, $6,813.60. Invoice W0420739291, Tor Mount Cat, $7,148.65. Invoice 222874, Triware Technologies, $5,750. Invoice 202317007228, Wajax Limited, $19,441.21. And invoice G413261, WSP, $17,020. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
One question on the fencing, TKS Solutions, is that the second invoice we've seen for that? Didn't we see one last time around? We had asked them, it was for repairs to fencing all around, was there more coming? Wasn't that?
This-
I'm not sure if that comes through the invoice or not.
This is the second invoice for the fencing around all the fields.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the first one was for the fencing around town-owned buildings, like around the depot and our pump houses. And I think this one's for fields.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So we have 4 capital invoices totaling $433,125.90. I'll present those. Invoice 132627, Engel Globe Corp., $16,031.75. Invoice CP1, Evans Landscaping, Beamer View Retaining Wall, $49,590.99. Invoice CP3, Wares Construction Limited, $326,192.05. Invoice 355-839-1309, Exlam Canada LP, $41,311.11. So moved for payment.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
So we have some motions as well for sponsorship requests. Motion 1, U15 Boys Baseball Sponsorship Request. Sponsorship request was received from the team NL U15 Boys Baseball Team competing in the 2023 Ray Carter Cup U15 National Baseball Championships in Laval, Quebec. In accordance with the town's donation policy, the committee recommends a donation in the amount of $200 for the Team NL U15 Boys Baseball Team. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried.
So, we'll go on to the August 9th report. So, the payroll, regular payroll for 62 employees for the 2-week period ended August 4th, 2023, totaled $124,230.47. Accounts payable for the 2-week period ended August 4th, 2023, invoices in the amount of $147,998.78 were processed. So again, we have some invoices for council approval. There are 5 operating invoices totaling $100,147.88. Invoice number July 2023 CIBC Mellon, $23,221.22. Invoice 23073 Grand Concourse Authority, $13,119.61. Invoice 402 H&M Paving Limited, $17,738.75. Invoice July the 16th to the 31st, 2023. Receiver General, $39,156.80. Invoice G413280 WSP, $6,911.50. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There are two capital invoices totaling $11,126.25. Invoice 388, H&M Paving Limited, $5,336. Invoice 2022-046-4, Progressive Engineering, $5,790.25. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
the one for H&M was double. That was in the last report as well.
Okay.
Oh,
So that's, we can remove that one then? Okay.
That was the first one in the first report.
Invoice 388?
Yeah.
All right, ignore that one. So we're only moving invoice number 2022-046-4. Okay, Ann? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Brian, for pointing that out.
okay, we have, again, some motions here, sponsorships. Motion 1, Team Perry, sponsorship request. Sponsor request was received from Team Perry Curling to assist with the ongoing preparations for their quest to earn an invitation to the 2024 U18 Canadian Curling Championships and the 2024 New Holland Canadian Junior Championships. The sponsorship package of 4 levels: title, sponsorship 5,000, gold 2,500, silver 1,000, and bronze 500. Due to the budget considerations, the committee was not able to commit to either of these sponsorship levels. The committee was in favor of supporting their team in their efforts to reach their future goals. So in accordance with the town's donation policy, the committee recommends a donation in the amount of $200 for Team Perry towards the cost of training and traveling to their 2023-24 schedule of events. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion 2, Team NL U16 female baseball donation request. Sponsorship request was received from the Team NL U16 female baseball team to assist with the cost of traveling to PEI for the Atlantic and National Baseball Championships in August. So in accordance with the town's donation policy, the committee recommends a donation in the amount of $200 for the Team NL U16 female baseball team to assist with the cost of traveling to PEI. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Comments? So I'm assuming that there's players on that team from Town Torbay, right?
Yes, on
Yes.
everything we usually sponsor, there's some connection to Torbay.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that. All in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
just to chat on that, we always, one thing that we do on committees, we do our due diligence to make sure that there is a connection to our town and to make sure that we're using our donation policy wisely.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion 3, security services tender. The town issued a request for quotes for security services. 2 responses were received. The quotations received were from Garda World and Spectrum. So the first is officer and vehicle weekly. Garda came in at $1,987, Spectrum $2,202. Second one, officers and vehicle weekly, Garda $3,358, Spectrum $3,917. Hourly, officer and vehicle, Garda $35.48, and Spectrum $39.81. So all quotations were inclusive HST. The committee recommends awarding the tender for security services to Garda World at the rates quoted, which is within the amounted budget. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions?
I just want to know who once this is being awarded, who does this position fall under?
it's budgeted under municipal enforcement, which I think comes under Brian, doesn't it? I'm not sure.
No,
I think municipal enforcement actually falls under planning development, but last year, it's a security tender, so that fell under infrastructure and public works last year. So I'm assuming it falls under the same thing this year.
I don't know, because there was this
'Cause
prior,
I done up a tender and everything for it.
prior discussion with it falling under planning and development, and that's where it was to last time, so, I guess I need to know that, and as well, what's the total on this? Because the funds are in here, these were approved in last year's budget, so it's only up until the end of December. So what the cost is from now until the end of December for this, and when are they actually starting? Seeing that it's been on the go since last year. Summer's almost over. And I know I keep harping on this,
Yeah,
but
no, that's an excellent question.
we have a lot of issues that are taking place at the Common, and I know they currently have security down there in the evening, so I'm assuming once this kicks in, that'll affect that, because that's where the funding is coming from right now, out of that budget as well. So when does it start, and what's the total?
I'll have to go back and check that, or Norm can provide the
Okay,
numbers.
so right now it's falling under you, Brian, it's with your department.
Yes, I believe so, yes. It was, like I say, it was developed under infrastructure and public works, but the security at the Common falls under the Common, I guess. I wasn't aware that was coming into that budget, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we got that as a temporary basis until this was awarded because we needed it desperately.
Yeah.
So that's been in place, I think, maybe for 4 weeks now. And it was up until August 1st, and then I continued it till tomorrow based on a tender being awarded tonight, and then us being able to make a plan moving forward, because we desperately need security there in the nighttime, for sure.
Because we're approving this, but again, like, not all the information is in there with regards to the cost that it's going to be, the effective date, if it's going to be tomorrow or next week until the end of December, because there's other things that were being looked at from a security perspective, seeing that's what the intent of this was supposed to be.
I got the impression from discussion at committee level that we were going to the end of the year.
In
As-
December,
As long
yeah.
as the funds stretch that far.
Yeah, but we need
Right.
to know how much is there, because it's $100,000, but because it hadn't been in place, there was other
Yeah.
things that we needed to take into consideration, so.
The cost will also depend on the package taken by council. If you got one officer or two officers, it will change, obviously, the cost. So decisions need to be made at some committee level as to what package you want, how many officers, and the hours that they're going to be on patrol.
Well, that's my concern, Norm, because the way that this is written here, you know, I think this needs to be put in place ASAP. And the way that it's done there, I don't have a warm fuzzy feeling that that's what's actually happening, because is it going to be one or two, or who's it falling under? And if it comes back to a motion to council or a committee meeting, what do we do in order to make sure that this is going to happen as soon as possible?
Well, I would assume that the tender had to be awarded before we could negotiate with the company on.
Well, that's not according to what Norm is basically.
We asked for these multiple scenarios in our pricing, not knowing what we were actually going to have at the time. And Garda was cheapest under all of them. So now it's to decide what their hours are, and all this is outlined in the tender. It was additional hours as required, which is water's hourly rate. There was a request for one officer or two officers in the vehicle. So now we need to decide what we're going to put in place when, and then that will determine the price.
Okay, I hear you. So, go ahead, that's your question?
I just want to know when we're going to meet to be able to put this in place. I don't want to end up waiting another 4 weeks, because are we going to meet in 2 weeks? Back to our regular schedule now that August in 2 weeks' time, that was,
Well, I mean,
you know?
for council?
Yeah.
But now that the tender is awarded, staff can go away and talk to the company and put stuff in place right away?
Yeah, but it sounds like you might need a motion to make that happen.
We won't need a motion because the actual scheduling will be operational. Council needs to award the tender though.
Okay.
I have a question though. Anybody else have a question or comment? Ward, I thought you were, did you?
No, I just wanted to say that we talked about this at committee level, and, you know, we want to get something in place, especially with what's ongoing with the common. We want to make sure that, not only is the public safe, we want to make sure our workers are safe as well. So, it's not that this is, not being thought of, or we're being in depth on this, but we're going to make sure this is something in place and something permanent, so we can make sure that we have what we need as a community.
All right, thank you. I have one question, and I don't know who is going to need to answer it, but is this company, once we award the tender, are we going to need another motion to make them our municipal enforcement officer? Because in order for them to enforce our municipal bylaws, don't they have to have that designation?
Yes.
I believe this contract is security
Okay.
only. Yeah, and to answer Deputy Mayor's question, the original contract for this was to be from June till October 1st, and there was a delay going out, so now in the tender document it was August 1st to October 1st. That's the way it was written,
Okay.
August 1st to,
October the 1st.
Okay.
There is sufficient funds in the budget to push it later into the year, to the end of the year, actually.
Yeah, it is written for possibility of extension as well.
Okay.
Yes, and we had talked about it at committee level as well, to make sure that, we had, if we had to push it, we could.
All right, very good.
What were the hours for each day of coverage? Was it 24/7? It wasn't that 24/7, obviously. It's 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, or what?
Yeah, 6 to 2 a.m. Same as we had last year. That was in the
what
tender.
was it?
6 p.m. to 2 a.m.
That wasn't what we had talked about. Anyway, we need to have a further discussion.
Yeah, that was what was approved
I
last
know,
year, and that was
because
what was approved to
we
be
talked
tendered.
about that being a waste of funding to have them on the go until 2 a.m., but that's a further discussion. Make the money go as far as we can.
All right, okay. Call the question.
If I can add to that, one of the things that we actually needed, we looked at some of the tapes that we looked at. Some of the stuff that was going on between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. with at the Commons, so it's not going to be falling on the money in terms of not being properly assessed, because there is some stuff going on right now that we need that radar security.
All right, okay, we'll call a question right there.
Uh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
So motion number 4, Torbay Common cameras. A video surveillance assessment was completed of the security camera coverage at the Torbay Common. Several deficiencies and blind spots were noted based upon the current security camera configuration. Additional cameras are recommended for the facility. The current video security provider has provided a quote for the additional cameras and installation costs. By using this provider, the town can integrate the new cameras with the existing system. The quotes received are within the limits of the Procurement Act. The cost of these cameras was not budgeted in the 2023 budget. The quote for the cameras and installation are approximately $9,000, inclusive of HST. After the awarding of the security cameras tender, there are sufficient funds within the security services budget to cover the costs of the additional cameras to the Torbay Common. So the committee recommends the purchase and installation of the additional cameras for the Torbay Common at the quoted amounts, with the cost being charged to the security services budget. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded.
Are the existing cameras doing the job that they were supposed to do? Aside from the blind spot areas, have they got enough resolution? Like, I don't want to, if the cameras aren't the proper ones for the solution we're looking for at the present time, I don't want to add 2 more to them and say we're going to pay that and then find out we're still on the same, I'll say fuzziness for lack of a better word. But if they're fine, I personally don't have a problem with it, but I just want to know that.
Yeah, no, the pixelation on the cameras that are there now are pretty good. It's just the blind spots are the issue, which we didn't need previous, but with everything going on now, I mean, we've had youth assaulted, that's been out of video range. We've had damage to property that's been out of camera range, so we're really getting to those blind spots we really need them, so that's what this is for.
Okay. Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I just, now that the motion and that's over for this here, because I had suggested this as an alternative with regards to the cameras and that there. There's one thing though I've got to ask, and I want to bring it up because a number of residents that live in the area has brought it to my attention. If we've got some of the incidents and the things that are happening at the Common on camera, why aren't we moving, or what's the process moving to have that looked at? And I know we were waiting for the RNC to show up, because apparently it's ongoing. I need to get that answer, because we can have all the cameras we want, but if the parents and the youngsters, they're not being identified, then, so what's the latest on that, Jen?
The RNC recommendation was not to publish any video on any town social media, but they did recommend I get legal advice.
So where are we to on that?
Well, I haven't reached out yet, but I will do this week to see what I guess the town's legal team thinks about
Okay.
releasing the information. Because we do have video footage, and I mean, you can, in some instances, you can tell who these kids are.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try and figure out. But the RNC's recommendation was to not post anything on our social media outlets.
No, but even to identify them, because I'm sure that looking at them, you can identify who they are, because we can have, if that's going on now for 4 or 5 weeks, and they're there certain time, because my concern with this is they're young and with parents. So my message is, if I had a teenager at this point in time, they were out till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and with the drugs rampant the way that they are, I'd be really concerned on what's happening, and knowing that they're out all night long. So I think we really need to follow up on that, because we can buy all the video cameras and have the surveillance, but if we're not doing anything with it to initiate, and get some corrective action. And the other thing that I want to mention here, seeing that we had talked about this at a Recreation Community Services meeting, and also being on the History House and Museum, I had suggested if there was funding for the cameras, because the History House had requested cameras and it wasn't in their budget. And it's all coming back to security, because we had an incident where our donation money was stolen in the middle of the afternoon. Well, we were there for a meeting and we came out. So what do I have to implement? Because that was supposed to be looked at the same time, was the security system for up there at the History House to be put in and come out of this funding as well.
Yeah, I provided a quote to the former CAO back in early June on that, actually, just after you made the motion to look at it.
Okay, no, but this came up again, I know then, but this is only the past couple of weeks that it came up. Take the funding from our security system.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think that was the question, was going back to corporate services, where the funding was going to come from.
Yeah, no, that was coming from out of there, and that's what's in this. But at the same time, Norm, I think that the manager had put a request in, and we said because it wasn't in this year's budget, we turned it down. The same thing that we did with the Common, but the two of them were supposed to come forward at the same time. When we looked at security for the Common, we were going to look at, the plan was with committee to look at security for the History House as well, because he had a quote, Noah had a quote done up.
Yeah, we discussed that at committee level. That was several months ago now. I'd have to go back and pull my
Yeah,
nose
but
out
we
on
were just
that.
going to bring it back forward again, the same thing that we just done with the Common, and get it taken out of, if there was any money. That's why I'm asking, how much money is the RFP there going to be for security up to Christmas? Because they need some type of security cameras up there as well.
When we looked at the RFP at committee level, it will cover 27 weeks of funding at the $3,000 level, and there's only 20 weeks left in the year, so there's about $21,000 going to be left over in that budget. That's
Yeah.
why I put the 9 in there. So
Yeah.
there is some additional
Yeah.
funds in there depending on the
Yeah,
cost.
and that's what we asked to look at, because it's the same thing, if the Common, because I remember when we had the meeting, we said, well, we'll look at the two, seeing that it's all security. because it's for staff and anybody up there at this point in time. They need it up at the History House as well.
All right, so can
So
we take that
you
away?
can
and
look at
it?
that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
If I can add to that, please, I know we're discussing two different scenarios there. As far as the common goes, what we're seeing there is totally different, obviously. I know we did have it at the History House, but what's going on right now in terms of what's at the common, it's a different scenario. And I know, about the Deputy Mayor's point regarding who's there and what kids are doing, that we gotta be careful from a town liability position, and social media, that kind of stuff, and what we do in terms of having, I guess naming names, so to speak, but,
Right.
and again, it's two different scenarios. We're not comparing apples and apples in terms of the common and, the History House right now, so I think the History House has to be a priority, and, no doubt we need to get, some cameras and so forth at the History House, but right now, commons, I think, is the foremost.
I think the point that Deputy Mayor was making, I don't want to speak for her, but if we have video footage of somebody at one of our facilities breaking the law or destroying our property, we should be able to take that footage and give it to the RNC and say, here's a person breaking our property, please go investigate.
Yes.
Not take it.
I'm not disagreeing with that, I'm just saying that we have to be careful how we
I agree.
do that. Yes, going to the RNC, that's fine. I'm just talking about in terms of, and maybe I misunderstood that,
Yeah.
the way we go about it, but as long as it's kept to a confidential source, that
I agree.
we are not doing anything else.
That's
I agree,
what
yeah.
I intended, and that's the thing. We need to get the
Yeah.
RNC, because we can identify who these teenagers are, children.
Okay,
I just wanted to add, we have given several videos to the RNC. It's just that they've recommended, even though we've given it to them, not to release it ourselves.
no, and I don't think anybody's
No.
advocating for the town to be posting stuff.
As
Right?
long as they're involved in it, then as much as you can do.
All right, thank you. That's it for that? I'm assuming?
Did we vote on that?
Yes, we did,
Video?
because
Yeah, okay.
Deputy Mayor said, no, we voted on that.
Okay, I got one more.
Did?
There was a sheet of additional invoices
Oh, yes.
distributed before this meeting. Sorry for the lateness, but we want to get them done if at all possible. So the following two operating invoices totaling $59,970.08 are presented for approval. Invoice August the 1st to the 15th, 2023, Receiver General, $43,964.98. Invoice August 2023, 30, $16,005.10. So moved.
Seconded.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There's
Carry-
one,
carry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
There was one capital invoice totaling $58,914.05, presented for approval. Invoice 376490, Crew Services Limited. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Comments? If anybody hasn't had the opportunity yet to go to History House and see this Pickle Ridge Memorial, please do. Go there. It's in the yard. It's beautiful. It's a fitting tribute to those 10 people that died in that plane crash that took our first mayor, Bill Manning. And it's a great little reflection place, and it's just right there. It's amazing. And that was a project that was partnership between us, Portrait Coast, St. Phillips. They're going to be putting their memorial in at, she's always forgets the name of that park off in Milan. What's it called, Tony?
Ozzy.
Boys Brook Park. And also there's going to be something placed up at Pickle Ridge, up at Portrait Cove, at the site. So if you do get an opportunity, go there and have a look at it. It's really well done, and it's beautiful. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
That's
Carried.
it for me.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Manning, there's no report, there's nothing.
No report,
You good?
there's nothing.
All right, perfect. History, Heritage, Culture, and Arts, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, we had our meeting. I'll just bring it up on my screen here now. Seeing that I lost part of it. We had our meeting on the 31st, and I'm not getting into everything that's in here. The manager's report, the operations report, the manager is preparing the fall program schedule for the History House and drafting the educational services and program master plan for presentation and review by the end of August. Donna, well, they got a lot of volunteers up there, and Donna's doing that, and all staff are preparing for our return to class in September. One of the things that came up, and I guess I was a little bit taken back by it when I asked about the funding, but apparently Noah had been contacted by the Historical Society or what have you, and if they're, depending on the amount of students and that up there, they would have been covered. But he only had one student up there this year, and apparently was turned down. Obviously, it came back somewhere through council for $4,000, and it was refused. And I really don't know how they're operating with the few students that they have with vacations and what have you up there. So it was unfortunate that we couldn't find $4,000 somewhere in our budget to let him have the request in staffing that he was looking for. There was an advisory meeting on the 1st, so it was in our calendar to meet this morning, but with the way those meetings are going, now we'll meet next Monday. Call for artists, he's preparing a call for exhibition proposals for 2024 to local schools. And I just ran down on my thing again here too fast, have been already registered gallery space to exhibit their students' work, which has been reserved for them in History House gallery schedule. And cultural services fall program, it's all in there. Managers preparing the fall program for the History House. They're offering visual art, music, craft, heritage skills, and traditional dance classes, and Creative Minds program for children 5 to 10 in September. And this curriculum builds STEM skills through art exploration and art making. And there the educational programming master plan. Councillor Tapper questioned the authority to designate and recognize municipal heritage sites. And Pico's Ridge, and this, I'm glad that this came up and we just mentioned about it. It was my understanding since the very beginning of that, when we talked and we got the funding up there for that once it was completed, we were having an opening, grand opening of that. So we need to get some direction on how that's going to happen, because I can tell you that the Manning family is expecting it. They were told that it was going to happen. So I guess I'll go back to our acting CAO and ask, how are we going to make that? Because now that our economic development officer is gone, there was a linkage between her where she put that up there and Noah. And with everything else that's on his plate, like we just need he's looking for some direction. So that's one thing. And then the same thing on the last couple of years, because, and I'm mentioning this because we got money from ACOA for that project, as well as Amherst Landing, Colonel Amherst. And that's been on the go a number of years. And Minister Thompson had talked about, and with the Minister of ACOA, going down for the opening. And that was talked about happening last couple of years actually. And there's a lot of people, not only in the town Torbay, but they don't even know that that's moved or what is it when they look at down on the beach. And this year, we got the benches and that installed, do we now, Brian? The work that came back from Age Friendly.
Yeah, they're in the process of doing the accessible trail there now.
Yeah.
Benches will go up.
Okay, because when I mentioned that before, it was going to be completed before the end of August, because last year we stopped doing this because it was my understanding where Parks Canada was involved in that initially, that they would probably want to be involved in it again this year, and they may some funding towards it, I don't know, but there was a discussion, I don't know where that was left with Deanne. But the 13th of September is not that far off again, and to date, nothing has happened with any of this. So I'm asking for some direction to be given on the two of these, and who does this memorial now fall under? Is it the History House?
Well, it's on the History House property, so I would say it's under History House. I got a very simple suggestion. Let's reach out to the families so when they're available to do a dedication and then plan it and do it.
Yeah, I know, but somebody has to take that, you know, you can say we, you
Right.
know, but we just need, so the CAO will look after what needs to be done there, and,
Right, because it doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing.
No.
Same as the Amherst, if we're gonna do it, send the invite off to Parks Canada and to the MP and say, this is the date that we're doing it. If they
Yeah,
show up,
what
they show up.
date?
If they don't,
Yeah.
they don't. We get it done.
yeah. But that's what it comes down to, and then we can send it out and any residents who want to come by, but somebody just needs to coordinate this and make it happen. So that's why I'm bringing it up in the absence of Deanne.
Okay.
And knowing that, I guess right now with the staffing and, you know, everything is at its max at the History House, so.
Would not dedication tie into the whole project though, in terms of the site itself and the quiet place here and the other place in Portugal Cove, St. Philip's as well? I mean, there's three potential sites.
Right.
You wouldn't want to get into a situation where we're doing something 3 times.
Well,
necessarily.
they'll be doing
I
it
don't
their
know, I
own.
don't know what the answer is, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, I don't know where they stand in process either in terms of.
But they're
the
doing
actual
their,
Mannings, like,
their own
comparison.
up there, because when the Mannings were up there a couple of weekends ago with regards to Judith Morrissey, the band and everything, everybody was here. And, you know, again, it's complete as far as we're concerned, so they're looking for something to happen, so I
Yeah,
don't
we
see it
can-
waiting another year to do it.
We can invite some people down from the town of Portugal Cove, St. Philip's and
Yeah.
do ours, and then when theirs is done, we go there and then
Yes.
we go up on the hill.
Yeah, no, now that it's done, it'll be timely to get it done this year.
Yeah. I don't think, we're not talking about a huge expense or anything, or a big
No.
lot of planning. I don't think so.
No, I don't
Thought it
see,
would've
the
been-
same thing, right? So now, knowing this, maybe when we have our next meeting next week, we can talk about it again,
Yeah, okay.
rather than having,
You guys take it away and
Yeah.
set up a plan.
okay, and I'll discuss it with Mark to see what his plans are on it. And the funding applications in here, and that's the other thing, I think each of the committees, we're going to do something similar to this, because I know New Horizons is out again for funding and deadline, and so is the Age-Friendly Communities. So, I sent that email to Jen probably and Noah while you were off with New Horizons, so that it's not, only one group can apply for it, but hopefully it'll be put in and applied for so that we can get it, because I think we never got the last round for this.
Right.
And I received a message in that today from the 50-plus, that's probably what it's concerning as well, so, anyway.
All right, thank you.
But it's good to see the update in here that what we've got, and some of them have been successful since we last, or unsuccessful since we reported last time,
Okay. So
especially the Mannion project.
I just got one thing to add, and I guess this is a general comment, probably more so for anybody that's doing events or programming or whatever. I think that we need to start looking for, when we're doing an event, we need to start sourcing some sponsors. I noticed over the weekend, the town of Ballyne put out their cornhole tournament that they're having, and on the bottom, sponsors, Molson's, whoever else was sponsoring it. And Lucky Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove, Festival of Friends that went on last night, on the bottom of their thing, sponsors. Like, we gotta be going out looking for sponsors for some of these things.
And
we're
we
doing.
used to do that in the past, right? Yeah.
Try and offset the cost, because
Yeah.
everything is getting way more expensive, and we do a lot of events for free.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if we, especially if sponsors know that you're doing something for free, they might more likely to come on. And in particular for that, Amherst Landing and the, Picos Ridge Monument. Like, let's reach out to Heritage Canada, where Bill Manning, where all those people work.
Well, that's
say
why I
we'd
said
like
with
to come in
Parks
on this,
Canada, yes, would be
Right?
probably sponsor it, so absolutely.
Can't hurt to ask. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Moving on, infrastructure, public works. Councilor Pollard.
Your worship. We met on the 9th, our usual 8 o'clock meeting in the morning. A lot of this is a repeat and just small updates to each individual one. There are two issues here that we need to discuss really, I guess. The flow meter project is, the software is installed, we're just waiting to be activated. They finally got someone to do the software, so that is done. We're just waiting for that to be activated so we can actually start reading from the zone meters. Trail development, and this is a discussion item that I think we need council support. Council has supported in the previous meetings, and that is to finish off the trail from Forest River Road to Bypass Road. And we're having an issue that we'll be told that we can't trespass on someone's property when it's not that person's property. A letter was sent to the resident from the province as well, indicating that the buffer area is essentially ours and not part and parcel of the property that person has. So we did send all that information to the resident. The resident responded that they weren't going to move whatever they had that was obstructing us at the present time, and that they would end up going the legal route. So I think from the committee's perspective, we were saying we got to put the trail through somewhere along the way. There is potential issue from a liability perspective for us if we actually getting into moving a person's property, regardless if they're in the right or wrong. If we do any damage to the property, then we can be held responsible for it. I guess the other thing is how we actually move forward from a legal perspective, because once we start and we get an injunction imposed against us, then we're going to need to have some type of recourse in terms of how we actually move forward with that. So I would like to move that we direct the Director of IPW to contact legal to recommend how we proceed moving forward to complete that road, and just to make sure all council is on side with that. So if I can make that motion.
Yeah, go ahead. Seconder,
Second?
comments? I don't think we need to comment, it's a legal thing. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think it's time to move forward on it. You know, we've been playing with this too long, you know, and it could be risky, but we gotta find out.
Why do we need, I'm just asking a question, legal, a motion for, because other departments and other directors go legal on an ongoing basis, and I just thought that was a given.
I think that-
If we're going to do that for one, then are we going to bring back every time a director goes for legal? Should we be coming back?
I don't know, I just brought it forward this time because I didn't want to hang anybody out to dry and push this and find out that we're, you know, X number of dollars into a proceeding, and someone says, oh, what do we do that without council knowing about it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's potential, it might go with, you know, minimal disruption, but then again, it might be a long prorated.
Because if they get legal input in it, then it stands to reason that,
I think that the response that we got back from the property owner, resident, necessitates us having to make this move, because they threatened to take us to court, and I think I like the approach that the committee is taking, because it's nice to have all council on side with this if we're gonna be going to, potentially getting into a dispute with a resident, that all council's on side. I think that's kind of where you were going, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily about the legal piece, but that we're all inside, we're in the direction that we wanna take.
get legal advice on what we're entitled to and what, yeah, I thought that would be a given anyway, but.
All right.
Well, we do sort of have that loosely, I guess, but the thing is to proceed
Yeah.
is what it is.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
The safety lights for the fire department crosswalk, they're still in the design stage. Retaining wall on beam review place is now complete, and Director of Infrastructure and Public Works had indicated that there's potential that we could cover the cost of that out of the gas tax money. So the committee is suggesting we put a capital investment plan in place to cover off some of that, or all of that project actually, so that we can recoup that from the bit of gas tax money that we have left.
Okay.
So a motion to submit a CIP for the work completed on beam review place retaining wall project in the amount of $914 plus HST. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The salt storage shed project, we're still waiting for the design to come back from the our consultant, the response to come back for the 17th, actually. So we should have that soon, then we can make a decision based on what it looks like from a cost perspective.
Correct.
The road project for the 7 roads, they're essentially all done now, and I think the deficiencies are all taken care of. Brian?
They're still working on some of them on a couple of the streets.
Okay. The junior softball field, we all know the issues around that, and we know from our discussions at committee of the whole meetings and other meetings that we're taking all this aside now to see what we can do from an infrastructure perspective and how that all fits into the dollars we spend on a global scale. Generator project is still waiting in the bay, and still all the other projects finished to see what money is left over. Stormwater mitigation, we're still working with the consultant on drafting the design and tender documents for the work that is still to be done in the Rattling Brook Drive, Bridge Road, Waterways Pond Brook areas. Note there on the water treatment for North Pond and the fact that it was in 3 phases, and it looks like, although we haven't got firm confirmation yet, we do.
Yeah, we do have firm confirmation on that now, actually.
So the owner's advisor can be the same across all 3 phases. We don't have to worry about that, which is great. It keeps that continuity there for the full project, without having to reinvent the wheel and spend more money by introducing a new owner advisor. Wastewater testing, Great Pond. The Great Pond water study, I haven't had a chance to address the timing of that. I know this is probably a planning issue as well. WSP came back with a date in later August for their presentation, and we had a chance to speak to Director Swartz in terms of trying to reorganize that if we can for an earlier date. So we will keep you informed on that as soon as I get a chance to hear more on this.
I will send you an email.
Okay. Other than that, there's not much else to discuss. The capital works funding, 2024-2026, you know, we spoke about that at the committee of the whole as well in terms of our competing priorities and how we're going to balance all that. The latest one being the possible phase 2 sidewalk construction from recent conversations with government, and Mayor alluded to it earlier in terms of the letter not being in the package for the agreement to go ahead and continue funding under the ISIP program. So once we get all that ironed out, we'll be bringing that back to the table, and hopefully we'll get projects moving forward or some plan to spend that money and any additional funds we can get from elsewhere. And so ends my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir.
Could I just,
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Councillor Pollard just touched on it there at the end with regards to the committee of the whole meeting we had and phase 2 of the sidewalks. The date for that application to be completed is the 18th? What date, or the end of the month, 24th?
For the sidewalk?
There's
Yeah.
no date on that.
There's no date.
For the meeting that we had with regards to the funding that we have in.
End of the month.
Yeah,
Multi-year capital works.
application is due August 31st. For the
August 31st?
Yeah, for the capital works
Because, yes,
funding.
because there was a lot of things that we need to discuss, and I guess it's the timing of the meeting. And with regards to Great Pond, we're having a meeting on Wednesday night with regards to the budget and to see where we're going, because there's a lot of decisions that have to be made in the next couple of weeks. And when you look at it either way, there's only 2 weeks left. And with regards to the sidewalks, I mean, that's something that, depending on who you talk to, there's some sense of urgency could be around that as well. So, you know, we really need to have a meeting sooner versus later and know what's happening with Great Pond, to know what the cost is potentially. So if there's any way, like Councillor Pollard said, to have that meeting earlier, because that was supposed to take place in June, and now it's down to the end of August, and that potentially could be, you know, the last week before school opens, and I wouldn't want to see that getting delayed. So if we could make it happen next week, so we could have all of our information. And I read somewhere that we have that in draft. Did I see that somewhere along the way that we have a draft copy?
I haven't seen a draft.
But
So
no,
the
it's
draft,
in
there
with
has
staff.
been, we do have the draft copy that does exist and where we do have figures
Yeah.
that could be considered for the capital
Okay.
works funding application is for the treatment facility. So we have firm figures on that. What we don't have the figures on yet, but I understand the draft report has been prepared and it's just like in document control and final sign off. So we're hoping to be able to receive that really shortly on the distribution study and to have that before the presentation by WSP. So we should have some information very soon.
Yeah, because we have that and then get all the information that's required, because we're really into making some budget decisions earlier than the actual budget process. And if we look at everything that we're talking about right now, and we don't want to do anything hastily, but it could impact where decisions are going forward with what we're able to do and not do. So next couple of 2 weeks is really critical. I would strongly suggest that Monday night, regardless, the next few weeks, that we book in Monday nights, Mayor, as committee to whole meetings, and that way we know potentially to keep it open for that. Well, I don't always have them in there and see what the agenda is going to be, so, anyway, because we do have enough to keep us going in the next couple of weeks.
Deputy Mayor, for timelines on sidewalks, the project has to be completed by September 30th, 2024.
Okay.
So we have to make a decision on that. And the, for the multi-year capital works, like say, the deadline for the application is August 31st. And the consultant's working on the estimates there now, so 7 to 10 days, the city should have that to
Yeah,
me.
so as soon as they get that, it'd be worth our while, Brian, get back together after them few days, so.
Most definitely.
Wouldn't hurt to touch base with municipal affairs again.
Ask for another extension. I'm gonna do that tomorrow.
There shouldn't be a big issue with that, but
Yeah, but it might be first come, first, we got into that situation before too, so.
Don't hurt to ask. Look what happened
I
last time I
know.
asked the minister for something.
we
Give us
also
funding
delayed
for
it for 20
sidewalk.
years too, for the common too, right?
Yeah,
We actually
for the
banked
ca-
it for 3 years.
yes.
so we-
You know,
For the capital, multi-year capital works money, you should be getting another extension, I would think.
all right.
Because
I'll ask-
that money's already earmarked for the town of Torbay, right?
I'll ask tomorrow. You send me the email about the extension that you got, and I'll go back and see if I can get another one, just for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is that it? All right. Infrastructure, speed calming or safety or whatever. Brian, can we take a look at the, when you come up out of Lower Street and you go to turn left, there seems to be some tree growth there that's blocking the view
Back towards the bridge, you mean?
coming down towards, from Torbay Road, and it's kind of a safety issue someone raised with me this evening. I didn't have a chance to stop on my way home and have a look, but I'll probably have a look tomorrow. But if you could take a look at that, just have a look. Thanks. Alrighty, that's it. Recreation, Community Services. Councillor Goss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some of these things we met on July 31st, so everything is there for everyone's reading. I'll just, some of the things that again have passed that we've talked about, but just to throw in there to update, especially the Killer Coast games, we have a shortage of volunteers. There's 230 games to cover, not including playoff games. Lions Club has joined the party to assist in running the canteen, helping to serve athletes meals and so forth. But anybody who has the time and who's listening, or we can reach out to people and have some time, it'd be awesome to have some people down there as volunteers to help out such a worthwhile cause, especially for our youth. And it's again such. I know that Flat Rock did such a good job last year, so we have to live up to those expectations. So I'd like for our community to pull through on that one. Fall Community Guide, again, tomorrow's the deadline for that one. Material September, October, November. Some December events will be included due to registration dates. Again, we can read down through those, but of note, we're talking about, again, we talked about it earlier with the common. the damage to that. We're talking about installing new cameras to get some better pinpoint of, to be able to protect not only our workers, but our buildings and our infrastructure. In the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of damage to the back doors, the community center, a little damage to the playground. Video footage has been passed over to the RNC. Director will obtain some legal advice as to what we can do with that footage. So again, ongoing problem. We've also talked about with the Ecola projects, with including some shed purchasing tables and chairs, upgrades to the entrance, the sign, and data inputting. We've also looked at some naloxone kits for potential drug usage, and if we can have some sort of ability to help anybody in need, it's good to have those extra kits there. Beyond that, we've got the funding has been approved, $6,500 for 2023-2024 H-Family Newfoundland Labrador Community Program. Funding application breakdown with changes since last year. Again, they're in the package. Beyond that, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Good. All right, I do have a question. So, if somebody wants to volunteer with the Killycoast Games to coach and do stuff, they have to have a certificate of what's it called for an RNC, right?
Yes.
Conduct. Yes. Okay, and it takes a little while to get that. So if we're going to come forward, because I know I had to get them when I was
Time
coaching.
is of the essence on that one.
Yeah. Okay. But to come in and be a general volunteer, do you still need that?
Come in and be a volunteer for canteen or various items, just not coaching specifically, working directly with the kids. So anyone who's interested can contact Kirk, just kcomden@torbay.ca, and we'll help make sure there's something for them to do if they don't have time to get the certificate of conduct.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Liaison committees. Atlantic Mayor's Congress. I just got a couple of updates. Craig Pollitt, the former CEO of Municipalities Newfoundland Labrador, has been hired by Atlantic Mayor's Congress and appointed as the CEO of Atlantic Mayor's Congress. He attended his first meeting with the outgoing CEO, Matt Kerrigan, when we were in Amherst, Nova Scotia. And his first official meeting, I guess, of the Congress will be in Happy Valley Goose Bay in September. So, welcome him aboard. Where am I to? Intergovernmental affairs, provincial, federal, municipal. I just want to say thank you to MHA Wall and Minister Abbott for timely response to my request. I guess I could say timely because it was this time that they responded and allowed us to not expand the scope, but go back to the scope on that money for the ICIP program on that sidewalk project. Originally, when they approved it, it was 2.3 million. Everybody saw the sign out on the parking lot of the town hall, when in reality, we only got, about $1 million? 1.3 total. So we went back and asked if, it's kind of funny actually, I only went back and asked myself and Jody if they would do the curb and gutter on the right-hand side of the road coming down. I never even asked them to do sidewalks, so just while they were paving the road, could they put the curb and gutter in? And to come back and offered us to be able to go back and finish our project under the same funding arrangement, so. It's kind of strange, we were turned down 4 or 5 times before and now we're not. So I'm very appreciative of the minister for having these, to do that, and how quick he got back to me was great. So, and thank you to Jody for advocating on our behalf. Jack Byrne, anybody?
We didn't have any meetings, just want to let everybody know that as you know, the electric Zamboni is in place now, and it's a quick piece of work.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Must pop out and have a look at it. Northeast Avalon Joint Council.
Won't be meeting until the middle of September.
Okay. RNC, I don't have anything to report. However, I do still want to follow up with them, and I guess we're kind of in a transition now, but I'd like to get them to come down here and have a public meeting with us to explain the new rules that are in the Highway Traffic Act, particularly around ATVs and, ATVs on the main roads. Because I don't know that a lot of people understand how that works now. There was changes made to the legislation last year that you're allowed to drive for a kilometer on a road to get to, from your place to get to a path. It used to be a couple hundred feet or whatever you could go. So there's a lot longer distance you can go now. So you're likely to see a lot more ATVs buzzing around the road. So it's gonna be worth our while to do some kind of a public awareness campaign and have the RNC down and answer questions around that, so people really understand what it is that, that's happening. That doesn't mean you can drive your dirt bike on the back wheel from Post Office to Irving, you know? Right. It's meant to allow people to safely traverse through the town. And there's a lot of municipalities that are taking advantage of that right now and creating corridors and stuff like that for ATVs, promoting tourism. So, I mean, that's something that we'll have to talk about later down the road, but it would be wise, I think, on our behalf to get residents informed on the new changes to the Highway Traffic Act, particularly in that regard. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department. Councillor Manning.
Don't have anything there right now. They are meeting very shortly tonight. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Urban Municipalities Committee. I'll be heading to Bonavista on Thursday for my UMC meeting. It's happening, this will be our last one, I guess, before the convention coming up in October. I just wanted to let council know that I intend to seek my board position again as UMC director on the M&L board. And I just wanted to let you know, because I'm probably going to try and get my nomination paper signed while I'm out at UMC meeting by a couple of different members from around the province, like I've done in the past. So just a heads up, basically. All right. Round the table. Councillor Tepper.
Just a few thank yous. Like I mentioned, I couldn't attend the last meeting, but since then, our former CAO retired. Dawn was in the job a year after I started, so that, you know, she was here for 17 years, great service, and obviously, you know, I think we owe her our gratitude, and was a long stretch for her, but you know, she had her ups and downs like everybody else. But when she was there, she helped as much as she could. So I just wanted to thank her for, you know, for her 17 years. Deanne Lawrence, again, another great person, employee, did a great job and her personality to match. You know, she was brilliant in her role as the Economic Development Officer. And I just want to mention Mayor Codner as well. You and I attended and Deputy Mayor attended the funeral service. He had a great send-off, 2 hours, I think the service was, and you know, great graveside send-off as well. So again, he'll be remembered because he loved the community, and I think I served under him for a number of years, and again, it's I guess it's a thank you in a way, because he dedicated, you know, a lot of time to this community.
You on?
Yeah.
All right. Councilor Poller, pass. Deputy Mayor.
I have the same thing with regards to passing along my condolences to Mayor Codner's family, and I had the same thing before he even said it. It was a great send-off. If there's any such thing as looking down, he would have seen what a good send-off, and I think the fire department added a really special touch to it all. I know that his family were delighted with it all. I got to say a big thank you to the staff that were involved in the Torbay celebrations. I know that I managed to make it to some of the events, and especially the Masterless Men, but I understand it was a great turnout, so again, thanks for everybody that was involved in that. I got to say congratulations to Scott Martin and Lacey Tapper. If anybody that's seen the video, I think the video should actually go viral, where Scott had the first dance with Charlie, and it's heart-touching, and it's really something that I'll never forget. But anyway, congratulations to all of them. They had a wonderful kick-off that day for the wedding day, for it to be such a lovely, beautiful, sunny day. And I wanted to say thank you to Noah or anybody involved with the History House yesterday. Holy Trinity had their garden party up there, and we had tea served in the History House, and went over really well, and see the amount of people that came out. And it's the work behind the scenes and after everybody leaves, that's when the staff kick in. So thank you to everybody involved with that.
All right, thank you. All right, I just want to say thank you to all of our staff and our volunteers who were involved in since we had our last meeting a month ago, particularly with the Torbay celebrations and everything that was going on around the History House and garden parties and everything. So thank you for that. I also want to thank the family, or Bob Connor's family, for including me in his funeral. I grew up right across the road from Bob my whole life. I moved more rocks and dug more ditches up behind his place than I care to remember. But, you know, he sat in this chair before I did, as did Ralph. And, you know, it's big shoes to fill. Not just because their feet are bigger than mine, but because they carry a presence in this room, and for what they've done for the town over the years. And I thank him for that, and I wish their family well, and I know that Bob's in a better spot now. So with that,
sorry to interrupt. There is a.
I got email.
You got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Anybody here want to do the Q&A? Do you have any questions or anything to say? Okay. So I do have one.
Here all night just for.
I do have one. You didn't have to stay. You could have went out. So.
I got budget questions, but I won't answer.
Okay, I got a question here from John Goldsworthy. He lives in Forest Landing. So he says, watching tonight's council meeting virtually, I ask that you forward these questions on to council for discussion, Q&A at the end of the meeting. Question 1, the improvements to the trail system Forest Landing have been a wonderful addition to. Many are looking forward to completion of the section that joins the lights at Enemy Line to Forest River Road. What is the status of this section? Is there a timeline for completion? Well, John, if you're still watching, you would have just heard a discussion all around that and about where we are with that. It's a bit of a tangly situation. We're hoping to get it straightened up as quickly as we can. Question number 2, thank you for not supporting Woodbridge Lane fourplex discretionary use proposal. In follow-up to the proposal, can council consider a motion to exclude any further discretionary use proposals for duplex or fourplex developments in Forest Landing? Alternatively, can council consider a motion that requires development be limited to only single-family homes and discretionary use approval remain consistent with past practice? Thank you for providing the opportunity to join the session virtually. Please don't hesitate to connect and discuss the above topics. John, what I will say is that we're in the process right now of doing a town review. We do have a standing committee, is that what we call them, or an advisory committee, that are going to be working on that with council to provide input. There will also be, as there always is with a town plan review, an opportunity for the public to provide input. And if you want to provide input or suggestions to council, that will be the time to do it. I don't know that, I'm not even sure if it would be legal for us to pass a motion to exclude certain developments from certain areas of the town. Usually everything is based on zoning. So residential large lot is one zoning, certain things allowed, medium density, all that. So we are in the process of updating the plan, and I guess we'll continue with the one that we have now that's in effect. And thank you for the questions and your comments. And that is that. All right. Our next public council meeting is scheduled to take place Tuesday, September the 5th. Are we almost getting back on our regular schedule now? Yeah. All right. I'm going back to every 2 weeks. It's scheduled to take place on Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, 6:30, right here in the council chambers in the town of Torbay. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you very much.